Damon and Helen looked happily at their son, who was hugging his wife with incredible love and gentleness. "We've had such lucky lives," he said to his wife. "We've made our careers, earned good money, raised a wonderful son, and now he's marrying an amazing girl." Helen nodded in agreement with everything he had said. "Now we just need to hand our company over to them, and we can travel like we dreamed about," Helen added. Their son Dennis, despite being spoiled by his parents' love and money, was really well raised. He wasn't spoiled or arrogant at all. His wife Amelia was from a typical family and truly loved her husband, not his money. She was modest, educated, and well raised, and Damon and Helen immediately took a liking to her. Dennis and Amelia worked in Damon's company, and he planned to give them the reins so he could take his well-earned rest. Today was Dennis and Amelia's wedding, and coincidentally, their second anniversary as well. "Are you both all right? Not bored?" they asked his parents. "We're fine. A bit tired from the noise. Probably just age. The older we get, the more we want our peace and quiet," Damon answered. "Dad, cut it out. You've still got grandkids to babysit, and that'll happen very soon." Helen's eyes widened. She looked at Amelia, and she nodded. "What's happening? Why are you all smiling so strangely?" Damon asked, confused. "You idiot! They just told us we're going to be grandparents," Helen said, laughing and hugging her husband. 8 months later, Amelia gave birth to a healthy, beautiful girl. They named her Gloria. Damon and Helen adored her. Dennis and Amelia went to work. Amelia was looking at some papers in the car. "What is it?" Dennis asked. "Dear, it's unfortunately true. Our suspicions were correct. We need to do something urgently." Dennis sighed heavily. Damon was sitting in his office. He had been combing through the papers on his desk for an hour. "Are you sure we can trust this?" he asked his assistant. "It's all correct. There's no mistake," he said confidently. "But I trusted him." "Alex, you scamp! How could you do this to me? I dragged you out of... and then you..." That's when Helen came up. "Dear, come with me to Gloria. Dennis and Amelia have something important and asked us to take a turn." "Yes, dear. Give me a couple minutes," Damon answered before picking up the phone and called Dennis. "Hey, Dad, I'm busy. Let's talk later," he said. "Dennis, I need to tell you something important," Damon said. "Okay, I have news too. We'll talk tonight. Thanks, Dad, for looking after Gloria. And thank you for always being there. We love you." "Of course, it's our granddaughter. We love you too. See you later." He gathered the documents and left his office. Damon happily played with Gloria, who would soon be 2 years old. Then his wife took a turn, and he went to his office to read over the papers again. The phone rang, and Damon didn't know why, but he felt anxious. It was an unknown number, but Damon answered. "Hello? Yes? What? How?" He grabbed his chest. His eyes rolled back. Then he stumbled and fell loudly, knocking everything off his desk. Helen rushed in. When she saw her husband on the floor, she got scared and said, "Damon, what happened? Are you sick?" Damon struggled to say Dennis and Amelia's names. "What about them? What happened?" she said, horrified but trying to get more information. "They're gone," Damon said, not believing what he was saying. She went pale and wanted to scream, but didn't so that Gloria wouldn't get scared, and covered her face with her hands. Damon was told that their car went off a bridge and into a river. Dennis's body was found, but Amelia's wasn't. 7 years went by. The only thing that kept Damon and Helen from going crazy was Gloria. They had to keep it together for her because she had no one else. She was 9 now. She went to school and did well and was an amazing child. Damon and Helen loved her to death. Amelia's body was never found because the current was so strong. The papers Damon received before it all happened had evidence that Alex had forged documents and stolen from the company. The theft was so serious that the company would have bankrupted in just 6 months. But the reliable and talented employees could keep the business afloat. After Dennis's funeral, Damon was in bed for 2 weeks and couldn't take the necessary measures, and when he got back to work, Alex had disappeared. He was always bothered by guesses of what his son wanted to tell him when they spoke that last time. so Damon decided to rewatch the camera footage from that horrible day. He saw Amelia talking to Alex about something. He thought she was acting strangely and concluded that she met with Alex, and since her body was never found, she was alive and ran away with him, abandoning her daughter. Helen didn't think she could do that, and if any of her actions or words had a drop of lies, she would have noticed immediately. Helen had a very good intuition. He always trusted her feelings, but not this time. "Dear, I saw Dennis in my dreams. He spoke about Amelia and showed me a place. It's a church or a monastery on the river. It looked so real that I went online, and I found it. It's a 2-hour drive. Please, go with me to look." Even though Damon got anxious hearing about Amelia, he agreed. Damon, Helen, and Gloria set out. It was a beautiful place. It was a convent. Helen went into a small chapel and Damon stayed with Gloria. They walked around the area when he suddenly saw a nun walking towards him. Damon felt something shudder inside. The woman looked exactly like Amelia. "Excuse me," he said when they were closer. She raised her head and he was stunned. "Can I help you?" she asked. When he heard her voice, he had no doubts. It was Amelia. But she looked at him as if it were the first time. "Amelia, is that you?" "You probably had me confused with someone else." "My name is Sister Anna." She looked carefully at Damon, then looked at Gloria. That's when Helen came up and screamed out, "Amelia, my girl!" Her face changed. Her eyes went wide, and something was happening inside her head which caused horror and despair. "My God, Helen! Damon!" She went quiet. She looked at the girl and asked, "Gloria?" "Amelia." "I'm Amelia!" she screamed. "Dennis, is he here too?" On that day, Amelia and Dennis received documents that confirmed Alex's theft. Alex was like family, so Dennis decided to talk to him and convince him to come clean, return the money, and quit. Then they wouldn't tell the police. But it was useless, and Alex denied everything. So Amelia decided to talk to him. She stopped him in the hall that was outside Dennis's office. She showed him the papers that confirmed his fraud and tried to convince him to return it and let it all end well. That's what Damon saw on camera. Alex saw the evidence, agreed, and told them to meet him in a suburban house where he'd return it all. That's where Dennis and Amelia were going, but while driving, the brakes gave out, and they were going too fast. Dennis tried to stop, but he made a mistake while turning, and the car flew off the bridge. Amelia remembered his face as they got out of the car, but the current was terribly strong, and she lost sight of him. The nuns found her on the coast. She lay unconscious for a week and didn't remember anything when she awoke. "If I'd have known, I would have kept looking. I thought so horribly of you all these years. Please forgive me," Damon said, crying. Amelia was sure that the brake failure wasn't an accident, but that Alex did it. She restored the documents and took them to the police. Damon also signed a report and provided documents that proved theft and fraud. She remembered when Alex told them where to meet, that he named a place first, then quickly changed the topic and told them a different address. That's where the police found and arrested Alex. He returned the stolen money and was sentenced to prison. Amelia began to live again. Without her husband, but with her daughter. She had a lot to catch up on.